Hi there. A bit of a snafu this week. At the start of this episode, you'll hear me talking about a new mic that I bought. And unfortunately, little did I know, having sound checked properly with this new mic just before we started recording, as soon as we did start recording, Skype managed to override all the settings on my PC. So I didn't end up recording on the new mic at all, and that's why the sound quality on my track is particularly bad this week. But yeah, I know what I did wrong, and I'll fix it in the future. I'm gutted because I was looking forward to using this new mic, but sadly it wasn't to be. But yeah, carry on listening to the show, and in future weeks you should notice a dramatic improvement in the quality of my voice, if not the things I'm saying with it. Anyway, with that out of the way, on with the show.
Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
Welcome to the Not Watching Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and today I'm joined by
Ian Bruce
and Marcus Hurley.
Okay, so first of all, if I'm sounding at all differently, and I don't know if that'll be at all right, because by the time this has gone through here, it'll probably sound exactly the same. But yeah, I bought a new mic. Got a Blue Yeti, just like you, Ian.
Yeah, I'm not actually using that anymore. I'm using the Blue Ice.
Oh, okay.
Which is it's like a cheaper version of the Yeti. It doesn't have a mute button, and you can't plug earphones into it, but it's good enough.
I'm using my old faithful Pro Sound USB mic, which is attached to £12 Tiger boom stand.
Yeah, I think that's what I spent on my boom stand. I've got a little pop filter happening. I just got one because it was like a £5 and it looks cool. So yeah, now I'm all properly posted up now.
Studio Rob.
Only took me about 4 years to upgrade from the Microsoft Live Chat headset that I'm still using. But yeah, hopefully might sound a bit better now.
We will still be talking the same shit, so that won't improve with the mic.
It'll just be HD sound shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll just hear our shit in superior quality, or at least my shit in superior quality.
You can only really ask for superior quality shit, can't you? That's if you're going to get it, you might as well get it in superior quality.
It only gets better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's been some cool stuff on Netflix. I was thinking of starting with a couple of Netflix films, actually.
Annihilation?
Yes, the first one being Annihilation.
I've fucking seen that one! Yay!
I haven't yet.
Oh, okay. Shit.
No, go for it.
Okay.
If I had time, I would have watched it before this, but I hadn't, so don't worry about it. Go for it. Full spoilers, who cares?
It's all right. We're not going to spoil it, because that would be a shame. I quite liked it. It didn't blow me away as much as I was led to thinking it might do. It certainly looks very nice. I will probably watch it again once I have a new TV.
It is based on a series of books, and I work with a lovely guy, who's a big fan of the books, but it seems the film has kind of compressed all three books into one film, which I think is a shame, because I do love me some weird, freaky out sci-fi stuff that isn't actually sci-fi. It's about the human state of mind, which the best sci-fi is, of course. Or makes you look inward instead of outward. But I did feel that this, in my opinion, not wishing to tailor your expectations, Marcus, I could have done with this being a 10-episode Netflix series.
I was going to say, if it's free
2
books,
hour, whatever it was.
I was going to say, if it's free books, it's not like Netflix is short of a penny. Why not make it free movies?
Indeed, but
a trilogy of movies.
It's not. Netflix didn't make this.
Oh.
Netflix bought it from Paramount because
God.
Paramount didn't know what
Another
to do
one
with
of theirs?
it outside of the USA.
And
It got a
Japan.
theatrical release in the US.
Japan.
And Japan got theatrical as well. but the rest of the world get it as
Was this going to be another Cloverfield movie that they didn't know what to do with?
No.
But I do think they don't want to throw sci-fi stuff out because, the mouse has got the Star Wars at the moment. And, we like different kinds of sci-fi. But I think they just don't want to compete with it. It's a bit lazy, to be honest. It's a beautiful film, though. There are some jolly disturbing things within it.
Well, I just saw the splash image
some disturbance
come up on Netflix before this, and it makes me want to watch it. There's just a splash image of, I can't even describe what I'm looking at. It's just people looking at something, and I'm just going, I need to see this.
Yeah.
I can't even put it into words. It's just a thing, like a thing.
It's a very good director, and it's got some great visuals and good cast. Natalie Portman's good. Yeah,
her husband's played by Oscar Isaac,
and he's brilliant. Yeah. No, it's good. It's a good movie. It's essentially a bunch of women, all with different problems, end up walking into this.
Essentially, you don't agree because you're shaking your head profusely.
Well, I am, but that makes it sound like Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Or 4 birds, having a bit of a rough time, go for a bit of a wander. That's not what it's about at all. It is absolutely not about that. That is not the tagline that will appear
along
anywhere.
With cross-dressing Agent Smith. Okay.
It's a bit deeper than that. As a one-line Metacritic review, I suppose that would work. But listener, go and have a look at the trailer before you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll leave it at that then. But it's definitely one of the better Netflix movies that I've seen lately. The same of which I cannot say about Mute, which
I've not seen that.
I was quite disappointed by, to be honest. Don't bother.
So, just before, I suspect there's going to be a rant and a tirade about the quality of Netflix output. They are just buying this and then flagging it as exclusive on Netflix or Netflix original and stuff. But frequently, some of the shit has been made elsewhere. So, Travellers, for example, I think it's flagged as a Netflix original, but it aired, well, the first 2 seasons at least, aired in Canada first. The third third upcoming soon. Woohoo! Will be Netflix exclusive, but I think that means it will be Netflix first and then appear on the Canadian network that made it.
Okay.
So, just because it has Netflix original and Netflix stuff, I think it just means that's just how they're marketing it. They are certainly producing things, but not everything that I think they're flagging as, oh, it's us. They're just sticking their name at the front and going, like Sky do for a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. They basically, anything with the Netflix badge on it, it means that that's the only way of legally watching it in the UK.
Yeah.
And they're basically just building their brand. And that's fair enough, I think. But anyway, Mute was financed by Netflix. The new film by Duncan Jones, quite a troubling film this was. Essentially, Alexander Skarsgård is a mute through various religious upbringing. That's why he's like a bit of a Quaker background he had. But anyway, his girlfriend goes missing and he's trying to find her. Meanwhile, there's a couple of doctors, one of whom's played by the guy who plays Ant-Man, Paul Rudd, and the other guy is played by the dude from what was the film where the show where they smoked lots?
Swedes. The Leftovers.
That's it, The Leftovers. So yeah, the other guy's played by Justin Theroux, and they're like, his character is wearing like this dodgy blonde wig, and like there's definitely something a bit pedo going on. And I just found it like, but I also feel like at some point in the production, Paul Rudd must have got cast as Ant-Man and gone, right, yeah, okay, so I'm the villain in this, right? But you know, I need people to think fairly sympathetic of me, maybe, because I'm in a big like Marvel film now. So it feels like something wrong has happened where, like, you've got this cool kind of Blade Runner film, because the visuals look great, by the way. You've got this cool Blade Runner film with Alexander Skarsgård stalking around trying to find his girlfriend. dealing with various bits of technology along the way. And then on the other hand, you've got this kind of like Vince Vaughn and that other chimp like buddy movie going on with like a really horrible psychopathic surgeon and a pedo. And it's just like, oh, what the fuck? It was just very weird, very disjointed. I didn't really understand what they were getting at. And I feel like this is probably what happens when Netflix give complete control to the creator.
Is it based on an existing IP, or is it an original script?
It's an original script by Duncan Jones, set in the same universe as Moon. So you see lots of weird little references to Moon pop up here and there as well. So it's a shame, because I've got a lot of time for Duncan Jones. I like Source Code, I liked Moon. I even didn't mind Warcraft too much, actually, for what it was. But yeah, I think this one's a big miss. And I would just, don't waste your time with it.
Not going to. Absolutely not going to. Thanks for the heads up, Lou.
Speaking of Netflix films that I think were overhyped, Veronica. I've seen like a couple of articles going on about, oh, is this the scariest Netflix film ever? I'm like, really? No.
You've seen some ads on Facebook saying that, haven't you?
No, I've seen like other reviews and stuff as well, and papers said I was genuinely terrifying and stuff, and I'm just like, no, it's not. It's definitely not. It's bog standard, middle of the road person at home with kids and some weird possession thing. It doesn't even do the whole thing that well. There are some tiny little bits that might be mildly creepy, but it's there's a film I compare it to. There's a film I have seen, and it has Kevin Bacon in it, and basically he's the dad in this family, and the kid steals stones from a canyon in Colorado, and they get possessed and attacked by a spiritual tribe of interdimensional American Indians. Shit film.
Why the hell
but
not?
That's my yardstick of shit horror films, and this film buddies up next to that. I just found it boring. I didn't care about her character, didn't care about the family. When they were all in danger, I didn't care. And I think a horror film in which you don't have any kind of empathy or even apathy for the character is a failure, script-wise or whatever. You just don't feel as though it gave you any time to care, considering most of the film is about this one person, and you see a lot of her, and she's just very outsider girl kind of thing, and it just bored me. I found it really boring, and no more, please.
Is it Spanish?
Yeah, it is, which has no bearing on the film whatsoever. It's Spanish, it's slightly religious. The only cool thing about it was that the police, I think it was based on an actual case, and the police officer came in just as she was at the point where she'd been possessed, and it was all going a bit and upside downy. That's a technical spiritual term. And that's it. I was like, oh, cool, he gets to see what's happening, as opposed to turning up once it's all over. And that was it.
Okay.
Another film I watched pretty much straight afterwards was another one that was recommended, because I think they both dropped around the same time, and it was a zombie film, Ravenous.
I've heard equally shite things about that.
I've heard
that was absolute bollocks.
I've heard of a film called Ravenous from years ago with Robert Carlyle.
I probably should have watched that instead. It was about a group of people, and people started doing zombie type thingies, eating people, and it started off with showing a sort of not a destruction derby, but like a little racing sort of thing, and then a woman jumps on someone else, starts chewing on her arm and stuff like that, and it cuts away, and then you're basically set in this little town, and it all looks a bit Series 2 Walking Dead around Herschel's farm. And pretty much these people are just, and when they run, they're escaping, and somehow they're at a point where, and all the zombies for some reason just start constructing these plimps made out of shit. not literally, but just like household objects or whatever. And these things are towering above them. And I'm just thinking, and there's no explanation why. And the kid zombies are doing little ones out of their toys. And you're just thinking, is this going to get explained? I'll let it get around to explaining this. Never does. The people run away from the zombies saying we need to escape, somehow run in a circle and end up back at the same point where they are.
What the hell, man?
The whole film is just a waste of time. I should have watched Mad Max. I was looking at Mad Max.
But if you want to know what not
I was
to
looking
watch,
at Mad Max and I was thinking, I should watch Mad Max. But instead we watched those two films back to back because we thought, okay, one's bad, the other one's bound to be better.
Well, sometimes you can't get it right, mate.
An entire evening was wasted.
Yeah.
I would rather have watched Pirates 5.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Anyway.
Okay.
Sorry.
So,
happy thoughts.
Continuing on our theme of what's not worth watching on Netflix, let's transition into some TV shows. First of which has to be Jessica Jones, Season 2. Okay, so my thoughts on this are as follows. First of all, it's been 2.5 years since Season 1 of Jessica Jones, which I think we all quite enjoyed.
Massively.
Yeah. The problem is, I think, really, is that it's been 2.5 years. That was my initial problem with it. Lots and lots of subplots that I could barely remember. And no, I'm not going to watch all 13 episodes of Season 1 again just because you've taken 2.5 years to make it. So, yeah, she's still very good. I like her as the character. But the plot of this season just went nowhere for me. There was a couple of episodes that redeemed it slightly by which went back actually into which went all a bit prequely. I think it was episode 7 or 8. That one was a highlight, but it goes into her past again. I will say, but just the way that was done, the casting of the people involved, I just didn't do much for me at all. I thought it was a bit weird, offbeat. And just the pacing again, please, already Marvel, doesn't have to be 13 episodes. Stop doing 13 episodes. You've got a 2-hour plot. Stop doing it.
It's a fucking superhero movie.
It's just enough with it already, please. And I know it's going to be exactly the same with Luke Cage in June or whatever when that comes out, but yeah, I mean, if you really find the character of Jessica Jones endearing, I'd say definitely check it out. But I was just really bored. By the end of the season, it was just background. Like, I was just too busy. Like, there was a lot more interesting things I would rather be doing, to be honest.
Do you want to hear something funny?
So
we watched it and we felt the same. We felt like the plot was just meandering. It was kind of interesting. Are we doing some spoilers? I'm not sure. I don't know.
I'm not going to watch it so far away.
Well, I wasn't going to do it for Ian's benefit, but if he doesn't care, then go.
Basically, we have a whole history of it delves into what happened to her after her accident and how she possibly got her powers. Turns out she's been experimented on by a mad scientist. I
think we kind
of suspect. I think it went into that in some ways. We knew about. I think they found out about the company and stuff because I did watch most of the first season again, and my God, comparing them back to back, the first season's story is so much more coherent and fun.
And has David Tennant?
He makes a return. I thought that whole element of it was really well done, where he's almost like the darker side. Yeah, he's the darker side of her conscience. I thought that was brilliant. Okay. That should have been from the start of it. After the events and the way that the way that she's treated and the way she feels after the first season, it's almost like they're carrying on, and the whole of the Defenders thing hasn't happened or anything like that. It's not even mentioned or anything like that. But I thought the whole way that Tennant turns up, and the thing is, you see it start to happen because she starts doing she starts crossing the line, and whenever she starts thinking like that, you'll see a slight hint of a purple light, or she'll be somewhere where the lighting goes a bit more blue or purple, and it gets more intense, to the point where then Tennant shows up, and he's just like, she's in the shower, and he puts his hands on her, and he's like naked with her, and it's freaky, and then she turns around, he's not there, and he's like properly, and then the more pissed off and annoyed she's getting, and the more crazy, the more versions of him there are, to the point where you could see he's getting stronger. I thought that was the highlight of the entire series. That part, I was punching the air going, yeah, now it's getting somewhere. All of that shit with this superpowered person that turns out to be her mother, who had a facelift. Bollocks. That was like fucking hell, Days of Our Lives shit. Get rid of that, scrub all that shit clean, and go back to the whole dark storyline that we enjoyed.
Yeah, that was the whole plot,
yeah.
though.
It was horseshit.
So it was just like.
Anyway, getting back to the funny part. The funny part was, I thought I'd watched all of it. Turns out I didn't watch the last episode, so I literally watched it before we recorded tonight. I tell you how much of a difference it made. None.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it? It's like, there was another
It was like,
one?
did we watch all of them?
It's not over yet.
I thought we had. What happened at the end?
God.
I can't remember. Bearing in mind, it's barely been a week since we watched it.
It's so painful sometimes on these shows. I remember the end of Luke Cage, where it's like, they've had the big fight, and now we have to go to the police station.
Well, the big fight, I got disappointed with the last 3 episodes.
The
last 3 episodes of Luke Cage annoyed me. It was kind of like going from Rocky 1 and 2 to Rocky 5 with a street fight. It was. I thought that wasn't necessary. The whole build-up, the way it kind of threw some curveballs. I think that the Marvel TV series have a problem. I think they're looking at each other and they've got a problem. Same with Daredevil season 2. First half of it was amazing. The whole Hand Elektra arc I found mind-numbingly boring, and that was all of the Defenders, which made that shite. I'm over with the Daredevil fighting the Hand thing. Just move on from it.
It's just becoming.
It's like, becoming Arrow.
Right. Okay. We've got it's just like we've got Marvel, yeah, and we've got these top talent on board, like producers. We need 13 hours of television. Make 13 hours.
But they can make 13 hours of
if it's good. Bonus.
But they could make 13 hours of television better.
We want it
I
on
would
Netflix.
have preferred to have seen flashbacks to when Jessica Jones was part of the superhero team, even if it was something where the point where she lost all faith in humanity. Because in the first series, you see the flash of when Patsy holds up a prototype version, and it's the outfit the character wears in the comics, like a white unitard with a diamond on the side. I would have liked to have seen, just as they went back and did the prequel-y stuff, there was so much time in this series, they could have just done 4 episodes based on that, and it wouldn't have impacted on this story whatsoever, but it would have given it a bit more oomph. Because the series, I mean, to be honest, Hogarth had a better story arc, and she's just an extra. Her little tale of, trusting people, getting completely rinsed, and then we realising just how vicious she is by setting up those people, and just seeing more of her. I found she was more interesting. Trisha, I found to be annoying. Her character just went mental in this, and not in a good way. She just went off the reservation. She pissed me off. She reminded me of the character of Jack from Lost, where they perpetually have this expression like a Jack Russell about to bite his own balls going, and I just said, I actually turned to Susan and said, she's got the Jack face. She's fucking got the Jack face. I can't take this anymore.
Wow.
And Susan's like, calm down. I'm like, I can't calm down. She looks like a fucking demented squirrel. I just found the series.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. I just found the series off, and it's a shame because I think they started something so strong with Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Daredevil series 1, and it just seems they've dropped the ball.
Yeah, it didn't really do a lot for me in the end. But yeah, something I have enjoyed watching so far is season 2 of Sneaky Pete. I've only watched the first 3 so far. It's all on Amazon Prime. just dropped on there the same day as Jessica Jones, actually, or the day after.
Excuse me.
Yeah, 'cause Jessica Jones dropped on International Women's Day. That was the Thursday. But Sneaky Pete's really good. Giovanni Ribisi in the title role, although his name isn't really Pete. It's Marius. But this is a show that started last year. They did the whole Amazon pilot with it the year before that. It's devised by Bryan Cranston, who actually appears in season 1. He's not shown up in season 2 so far. 10 episodes, and it carries on exactly where the first season left off, like in a Breaking Bad style. And he's basically, the premise of the first season is that he basically steals the identity of someone who he was in prison with, and ends up getting into all kind of tries to spin a con involving Pete's family, who end up being quite shifty themselves. So it's all kind of like it's like a bit of a puzzle box for plot, with everyone's kind of in trouble for some reason and helping each other out to get out of various problems and stuff. So it's kind of got that stuff that it's got that thing that like Breaking Bad at its best, and like Dexter when that was good. How are they going to get out of this one, sort of thing. So it's pretty cool, and it's also, the showrunner is Graham Yost, who did Justified. So it's kind of it's like a big mashup of all those shows. If you are missing that kind of era of TV, it's definitely a good place to go back to.
Nice.
You been watching anything?
I haven't, actually. I've not really been watching anything at all. I just want to note, Graham Yost also wrote Speed. That's
right.
what I know. He also wrote Speed 2, so you can't get everything right. But I know he did the characters for Speed 2.
He tried.
There's only one other thing I've been watching, and I think we talked about this in the last podcast, Rob. Altered Carbon.
Oh yeah.
I have finished it now.
Did you? Yeah.
Did you realise there was another episode, or did you?
Ian, it was nowhere near that camp. I was downloading that show to watch on the train to and from work.
Nice.
It's the first time I've done that in a while with a show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Suze didn't really get it, did she?
But
so
I think we've covered that in the previous one. It's one of those shows where either you're into it or you're not. You'll get either pulled in or you just won't. Because I can see some of the negatives, like the main character being quite flat and everything else, but he is a cool, calm killer, basically, a soldier type thing. I mean, you see the flashbacks.
He's a cipher. You're supposed to imprint on him a bit, I think, and also he's a sleeve. So I think that's part of the idea. It was
quite funny. There was I liked it. I loved it. I'm looking forward to another series, and I see what you mean. I can see how they could do it without that character. Because of the way that they've invented the world, you can be almost anybody. And I was listening to actually, funny enough, I was listening to the podcast about it when we were talking about it. And it was the fact that we mentioned that even in his flashbacks, he's a completely different actor. So, who then comes back in one episode to attack him in his own body, which was very weird. Yeah. It's like, awesome. I'm being beaten up by my old body. Just what? It's just crazy. I thought the way that it played out was quite nice. It was a good example of how storylines all knit together, and it did get a bit A-team in the way that they all helped each other then, because they realised the big bad and the necessary evil needs to be not beaten, because you don't really defeat it, but I suppose they kind of did in this one though. But it's all about banding together through circumstance, and even though you hate each other, as most, a dirty dozen, I think they were by the end of it. I thought it was pretty cool. It was cool. They were like a ragtag band of stuff. Some things happened that made me a bit sad, and then we laughed, we cried. Who's we? I just watched it alone. But but yeah, I did notice there was one funny bit that did make me smile, and I realised this massive geeky knowledge popping through. When he's having the fight with his spoiler, the person at the end, the woman, when they're having the little sword fight in the base in the sky, the sword that he picks up with the ivory handle is Connor McLeod's from Highlander.
Is it
It
really
the Highlander sword. So the fact that she's been alive for thousands of years, I'm wondering whether somehow she's got Connor McLeod's sword or whatever, because it's supposed to be humanity, and she's been alive for like, I don't know how long.
The concept of sleeves account for the Highlander.
Yeah, no, well, that's the whole point. I think it's like a tongue-in-cheek poke at immortality, because essentially the person who had it is almost immortal. She's got clones, backups, and everything. Yeah. And he also does a little wrist flick with it, like a little spin that Connor does just before he starts fighting. And it's so subtle though, because you see the camera focus on it for just a moment, and the rest of the time it's them doing the cutty stuff and trying to kill each other. But yeah, I thought that was quite cool. I actually got to go back and pause it and went, "Oh shit, it was."
That's a good spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just been Googling to find out if there's any more news about season 2, and it sounds like nothing's definite yet. But Joel Kinnaman is now signed up to other things, so there's a very good chance he wouldn't be returning, and that there'd be a big time jump involved. Which is
they look like they kind of set that up.
Like
they look like they set that up at the end anyway, because it was the fact that he was giving the cop back her life by giving up the sleeve.
Yeah, I just wondered if it could have gone away where he reappeared as the character whose body he was borrowing, and then Takashi could carry on as somebody else. But did you give this any much of a look in?
About 3/4 of an episode, and then bailed. Just it wasn't doing anything for me at all. So
there were some really weird. It was like some really weird humor bits in there. There's a part where they find this illegal 3D cloning thing that can clone a perfect clone, and there are some people, and they set up the idea. Some people have got, because everyone's got like a stack, because there's basically like an alien chip in the back of the neck, blah blah blah. But some people double sleeve, so they clone their stack into someone else. And there's a criminal going around who's double sleeved, and he says that it's his brother. But then you don't realise that's setting it up for something later on, and he clones himself. It's a bit of a spoiler into later on. He makes a clone of himself to get someone off his back. And basically, the wife of the person who hires him to investigate his death, she's got a thing for him massively, and she makes him an offer to go to an island where she's got, I don't know, hundreds or whatever of clones of her that all share one consciousness and one singular thought. And basically, he talks to the woman who's his sister, by the end of it, massive spoiler there, and says that he doesn't care about anything anymore after it all hits the fan. He says, I don't care about you, don't care this, don't care that. Gets into a flying car with her and goes off. And you see a bit where you don't know which one it is that's gone off, and the other one's watching going, there I go, on a screen, and the rest of the people around him go, hang on, you won the best of 5, whatever it is, like, you know, rock, paper, scissors, and he gets to go off to the sex paradise. How does that work? He goes, well, I have the right to choose, and technically he hasn't had sex yet. Because he's literally just born. And it was just like... there were lots of weird bits of humour and stuff, and I thought it was interesting. They were talking about the whole social concept of it, which you don't get from initially watching the programme. The idea behind it, the message behind it, is that if you live too long, you lose what it is to be human. You imagine how rich people, wealthy people will become so just disjointed from it. They go to a banquet and the people have basically got this tiger spread-eagled and like split open, and they're just eating tiger. Even though it's super, super rare in the future, they're so rich, they don't care. And they get people that are like married to go and fight in a drone, fighting drone to the death. And that's how they earn money. And it's just like, it's basically all of the stuff, like, imagine fox hunting and everything else, gone to the extreme, because people have been allowed to live for hundreds of years rather than our, 90 odd year lifestyle. Yeah. And I thought that was quite good.
Yeah, well, that's how you end up with this rich elite where they've just amassed so much money they can afford for their own private suite of clones and stack.
They almost become gods as well, because they can just and the police are nothing to them. there didn't seem to be an army though, which was weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was a bit odd.
We didn't see that. There were though. They were the troopers, weren't they?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Takashi was one of. They're like.
Anyway, I enjoyed it. Sorry, we're boring Ian.
No, sorry, I'm going to have to go. Oh, fuck, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It's fine. There isn't really much more I've been watching, so I'm quite happy.
Have you got anything else, Marcus?
No, that's it really.
Oh, okay.
To be honest.
Okay.
I just a couple of quick bits. I watched. I've been watching a bit of that Ugly Delicious show on Netflix, which is it's a food show, and it's got Dave Chang in it, who was in played himself in Treme, the show by David Simon. David Simon shows up, Glenn from The Walking Dead, Aziz Ansari's got a few Hollywood mates, but basically they're just trying to sort of raise up street food and junk food into like more of a kind of cuisine in its own right, and basically sort of bang on about the kind of the virtues of that kind of food, and they tackle a different kind of food each week. The first one is all about pizza, and yeah, they're quite good. Again, not like it's kind of background TV, but quite good to have on. He's a bit sweary though, so just bear that in mind.
What a cunt.
And the yeah,
that's the edit for you.
And the back four of Electric Dreams, the Philip K. Dick show on Channel 4. That's the latest episodes of that have all been quite
I've watched those
decent,
actually off your recommendation. Stupid, I know, but I did, and I actually quite enjoyed them.
Full, yeah. What more recent ones?
The more recent ones, the terrorist one, the one before, and the one after. I think no, the one before that maybe.
The last one was about the girl in the school. Was a bit Black Mirror, where she got the weird bracelet thing. That was cool. That was the last one I've seen. I think there's one more that came out yesterday, and I haven't watched that yet. But yeah, the one with where they were, with the Amazon deliveries or whatever. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I don't know. It kind of feels like the Americans have done to Black Mirror what they also did with the In-Betweeners. Because there was certainly one of them where I looked at it and went, this is horrific. What are they doing? I'm not going to do this. I think maybe I went back to the start and thought, oh, those two are good. I'll go back and see if it's good all the way through. And then thought, holy fuck, they're the exception. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think because there were only 4, it seems like they've had a bit more money to spend on them or something of this recent run. But it's definitely more impressive than the first 6 episodes. It's almost like a different show. Like it's like another series almost. Like they've had time to raid the coffers or something. I don't know. But yeah, definitely. If you weren't impressed with the first 6, give the back 4 a look. So night and day.
Marcus, can I just ask you quick? Did you watch? Have you watched The Babysitter yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay, cool.
Loved it.
So have I.
Loved it. Great film.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Stupid
fun.
I hope I can find more like that.
They have to be out there.
I know. It's just so much shite though.
That was that was McGee, wasn't it? That Babysitter. No, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Thanks for listening to the Not Watching Podcast, part of the Not Listening Podcast Network, where you can also find the Not Playing Podcast, where we talk about video games, and the Not Listening Podcast, where you can hear Adam and Co talk about all kinds of nonsensical nonsense. You can email us at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us at notwatchingpod. You can find the show notes for all our shows at notlistening.co.uk. If you like what you've heard here, please do leave us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, bye!